Welcome to the People Paradigm. As people specialists, we are globetrotting with our journalist C.S. Duplessis to find the golden nuggets of leadership. Felicity Carson is Senior Vice President at Aviva and is successfully responsible for developing and leading the demand generation teams globally to drive business growth. She has been instrumental in leading multiple marketing transformation initiatives, which has resulted in her achieving many awards and led her to become one of the top 10 most influential women in 2016 in March Tech B2B marketing. So relax for 15 minutes and have a notepad to jot down those golden nuggets.
Right. Felicity, thanks so much for your time, for joining us on the People's Paradigm 5-minute interview with global leaders. Let's start off straight away, shall we? Let's get into the questions and waste no time. What is your driving force?
So I think it's basically three things that have really driven me in terms of my own career success. So one is just the passion for what I love to do. So if you're not passionate and you're not in love with what you do, it's not going to drive you. So just having that passion, and then my best. I really, whatever I love to do, I want to be at my best. And then just the passion for the team around me, because your success is never your own, right? There's always people around you that are supporting you, whether it's professionally or personally. So it's just having passion for the team that's around you. So those are my driving forces.
How did you know you had found your professional niche?
So I kind of fell into it, really. My first sort of get out of school, what I wanted to do was to be a ballet dancer. That didn't work out. Then I wanted to be a doctor until I saw blood, and that didn't work out. Then I wanted to be a lawyer, but that was South Africa, and that meant apartheid, and I didn't work well with, putting people in jail because of the color of their skin. So that didn't work out. And then I kind of fell into marketing, and so that's how it just that's where I started to develop my passion and love for it.
Well, you've almost answered the next question, because do you feel that people believe that people fall into their ideal role, or do they work hard to find it?
So I think it's a combination. For me, right, that's my experience, and it'll be different for others. But for me, it really was a combination. As I kind of fell into it, but you also have to heart. Right? Just because you suddenly, oh, I like marketing. Oh, I'm going to go down that route, but I'm just going to twiddle my thumbs and just, sit back. And when I feel like working, I'm going to. So it's a kind of combination. You got to mix those two. So that's what worked for me.
Do you feel that there's still an element of chasing the goal, of chasing a certain career objective?
Um, Again, that's a great question, because I know a lot of people that I mentor are very much focused, I want to be the next CMO. And then I like, well, why? Do you know what's entailed in being a CMO? So chasing a goal, I think you always have to take a step back and truly understand what is really driving you. Is it the title? Is it the love for the job? Is it just because you want to be better than the person you're working that's sitting next to you? So be authentic in your goals. Don't necessarily chase them because it looks good on a business card, right? It's so yeah. So for me, I never chased becoming an executive. I never chased that. I just knew that I want to be the best that I can be every single day. Work hard, inspire the team around me, uplift them, and then of course your goals sort of evolve through your journey. So
speaking about working hard, your morning routine that sets you up for the day. Tell us a bit more about that.
PCM. So prayer, coffee, and meditation, in that order. So, before I put my feet on the ground, when I get out of bed, it's just a small prayer. Thank you, God, I'm here today. Then coffee, because you can't do anything without coffee in the morning. So
I'm with you on that one.
And then meditation. I'm good on the PC, prayer and coffee. Sometimes I skip on meditation because I look at my inbox and I'm like, oh crap, I gotta get through all that. So PCM.
That inbox factor, it's a lot of stumbling blocks it's a stumbling block for a lot of people, almost an analysis paralysis type vibe. Do you think that's one of the things people need to work on to sort of ease their workflow or get into the day faster?
Yeah, you need to manage your inbox. Don't let your inbox manage you. So, and I find a lot of people end up having the inbox manage their lives. So for me, I mean, I try to get to zero mail by end of day, believe it or not, and that's what I work towards. And it's just a simple rule. I either reply to something, I file something, or I delete something. And just being very, don't keep an email in your inbox just for the sake of, yeah, I'll get to it later. If you're doing that, you've just wasted your time. So
Great advice. Great advice. What's the best business book that you've read?
So no, there's no business book that I've read that's the best. The best book that I read was a self-improvement, self-empowerment book that I believe you applied professionally and personally, and that's The Power of Intention by Dr. Wayne Dyer. If you apply those principles professionally and personally, you're bound to succeed.
Do you have a mantra?
Yeah, I have one that I created myself, and that is God blesses you so you can bless others. And that's what I believe in, that if you are blessed and you have the ability, then you should be going out and blessing others. So nothing is yours to keep. It's always yours to give away, whether it's your personal time, whether it's a sacrifice that you make, whether it's just, baking a cake for someone, or financially supporting them. So God blesses you so you can bless others. So bear that in
Great
mind.
advice.
As someone in a senior leadership role, what is your sort of tip that you give to leaders? Your one tip that you give to leaders?
Yeah, be the leader that you want to have. It's real simple. You know, if you're going to be an asshole leader, then that's not what you want to do, right? So
Tell it
be the
how it
leader you want to
is.
have, and that really comes down to connecting, caring, and seeing the best in others around them. So if you see, I have found just in my own experience, I've taken on teams as a leader, you get passed from team to team, and they want you to lead this team and that team. And you'll come onto a team and the previous executive or leader has said, oh, that person, John Doe, awful. You got to get rid of him. And then when you go and spend time with John Doe and you really understand, you really get to connect with that person and you really get to care, and they see that, and you then begin to see the best in them, then you build the right path for them, and then all of a sudden they start to succeed. So be the leader that you want to have. Don't you want a leader that cares and connects with you, right? So that's what makes it work. So.
What's your approach when you join, lead another team? Is it to stamp your authority up front, or is it to listen, learn, observe, and then sort of gauge from there? What's your approach to moving from team to team?
Definitely. Definitely. You got to listen first, right? You cannot be a leader if you don't establish trust. And you can't establish trust if you don't connect and you don't really understand your team and who's on your team, what their strengths are, what their weaknesses are, how they're going to support you. So, so you have to take a step back. You have to first assess the situation and don't just come there pounding here are my demands. This is how we're going to do it moving forward. Because you'll lose your team. You'll lose your trust. The team won't work for you. You'll work against your team and not with your team.
What's the best advice that you've ever been given?
I mean, through my career, I always felt like I'm not good enough. I don't know if I'm doing well. And the best advice was given to me that someone that said, your light shines brighter than you believe it does. And sometimes you just don't really know that you do have a strong light in you. And just trust that, your light does shine brighter than you believe it does. And just trust in that. And if you've got good intentions and you truly care and you are authentic and you're building trust, your light is shining very, very bright, even if you think for starters you're not getting through. So again, it goes back to one of the first statements I made. Your success is not your own. It's built by people around you that support you, and that's what that is.
So it's almost finding your self-belief, not necessarily confidence, but
Mm.
self-belief, and then moving into confidence.
Exactly. Yeah, you got to believe it. Yeah.
What's your favorite quote?
So my favorite quote is from Estee Lauder, and I do use her makeup. What she said was, some people dream of success, others wake up and work hard at it. And that is the fundamental. You're not going to suddenly think you'll be successful tomorrow. You got to work. You got to work harder than the person next to you. So.
as we continue our Zoom chat from across the Atlantic, what to you makes an authentic leader?
Truth, transparency, and trust. I think maybe in that order, not necessarily in that order. Truth is just speaking your truth. If you're truthful and if you're transparent, you're building trust, and that in itself, makes you an authentic leader. People have to trust you, and that's authenticity. And the only way people are going to trust you is if you are transparent and you are truthful with the good things and the bad things. And it's okay to tell someone on your team that they're not performing at their best. It's just, how do you do it? It's how you deliver the message. And if you deliver that message in a caring way, you will find that they will work harder for you than ever before.
Felicity, last question. COVID-19 and the pandemic that is gripping the world has obviously had an effect on everyone. There's not anyone who's been spared. Do you think that it's accentuated some of your leadership qualities, or do you think some things have had to change that you've exacerbated? What's your take on how this has affected leadership as a whole?
Well, it's definitely forced us to try to connect with our teams in different ways. I have a team that is all over the world, so I was using a lot of the virtual, platforms in order to connect with them. But I also had the opportunity to meet with many of them face to face and travel to do so. Of course, that is gone. I think what we need to be more mindful of is that being in a virtual environment now, everyone works from home, the demands have suddenly gotten higher. People forget what day it is because you're just working nonstop. Everything is blending, one day, becomes a week. And I think what I'm realizing is my teams have become overworked in the last 3 months. And I've actually talked to others, peers in my industry, that they're finding the same thing. And so, we're only in this, 10 weeks. We're still learning. We're not at the end of that. And I'm still learning how I'm going to do this a little bit differently. But just simple things. I don't want my team to feel like they don't know what day it is. That's a concern. And how do we manage that? I've decided that maybe Fridays we just shut down, no meetings. It's just work time. Another thing to consider is a lot of parents are having to take care of their children and homeschool them. And that's I can't even imagine. I have a son in college, so I'm lucky. I just, hey, you got to do what you got to do. Go on, do it. He's old enough and, big enough to figure that out. But for, kids that are in, young kids that are in middle school or elementary school or primary school, as you would call it in South Africa, I don't know how those parents do it. And so as leaders, we really have to think in innovative ways of how we can help them. What can we do? I think companies should be looking at investments not only for their employees to have the ability to have laptops to work from home, but to extend that investment and put laptops in the hands of their children, which we know is a huge investment. There are things like that. We got to think outside the box. And so that's what, as a leader, I'm thinking about. What do I do differently? How can I help my team, help them, homeschool their kids? There's one laptop that goes around. Each of them have to share it. What can we do differently and help investments beyond just the employee? So freeing up more time to give them time to think. And then, having those coffee chats. I mean, one of the things we've seen work well in our organization is we have a Zoom chat with their entire team. And, we say, bring your beverage of choice, tea, coffee, wine, whiskey, whatever it is. No one cares. What we do care is we want to hear about you, and we want to hear what's working and what's not. And it has helped the teams open up. So yeah, I think we're just learning as we go along. One thing we do know, that there is no playbook. So we have to create our own playbook.
Let's see. Thanks for the inspirational words, for sharing your insights into leadership. Keep up the fantastic work, and congratulations on everything. And good luck leading those teams of yours, because I'm sure they can benefit from your leadership at this trying time. Is there someone you could think of that we should be chatting to, or you'd like to nominate to be next on the interview?
That's a great question. You know what? I would nominate Zarina Stanford. She's someone that was actually once my boss, then became my peer. and then became my best friend of a few best friends that I have. She's definitely in the top 10 or top 5, top 3. She'll remember what I say here, but she's awesome. And she's worked all over the world.
Fantastic. Thank you very much, Felicity, and all the best. Take care.
Great. Thank you. Thanks so much for the opportunity. I appreciate it. Bye.
Tarina Stanford, we're coming for you. Taking leadership one step further. Evolutionizing behavior. We the people paradigm.